Yo, what's good, bro? Today I will be talking about a concept that you've never heard anywhere else before, and that if you truly understand it and implement it into your own life, it will change the way you think about music forever. And that's my guarantee to you. So let's dive right in. So the concept I'm gonna talk about today is called scaling the micro. Now, what do I mean by that? Today we're gonna talk about the definition, and I'm gonna break it down for you what it actually means. And then we're gonna implement the concept and then understand it in a music context. Then we'll tell you the story, how this made me a multi-charter producer. And then we're gonna tie it all together into your master plan on how you can use it to get placements, to get songs, to make money, right? So first of all, what does scaling the micro mean? It's a business concept, and it means you target a smaller audience, a more niched audience before entering a big market, okay? And this might sound still very, very broad, but I'm gonna give you some examples so you can understand it and grasp it fully. Example, Facebook. Facebook was first designed to connect Harvard students with each other, okay? So they didn't start out by targeting the whole world and making it what Facebook is today. So they had a small audience, the Harvard students, and they had a small niched service, which was connecting, right? Now they have way different services. They have connecting, they have advertising, and all those different things, but they didn't start like that, right? And later, Mark Zuckerberg expanded the audience, already having that proof of concept that his system works, and then added other services on top of it. Now this still might not make a lot of sense for you and how we can use that in music, but that's what I'm going to do next. I will break it down for you so you can understand it in a musical context. So, what does scaling the micro in music context means? This is basically everyone's come-up story, but no one has ever talked about it like that. No one has ever broken it down for you like this. It basically means first becoming a big producer in a smaller market. For example, if you're in America, you start in a smaller city, get some motion, and then go to ATL and work with the bigger artist, or Los Angeles or whatever. Or example, if you don't live in the US, if you live in Europe or used to live in Europe like me, then you can get placements in your local country, like Germany, France, Poland, wherever, and then expand to work with US producers and US artists. Now this has following major benefits. First of all, it's way easier to chart, to go platinum or gold in those smaller markets, as you need way less streaming numbers and sales numbers, and there's way less competition just from an artist perspective side. Second of all is also very obvious, you can get a hold of artists and producers way easier, meaning they don't get 1,000 DMs a day of people trying to work with them. It's just way less inflow of messages that they get. So it's way easier to contact them, it's way easier to get their phone number, to get their email, whatever, right? And a lot of big artists in Germany, France, wherever, have way bigger, way better numbers than mid-sized US rappers like Lil Papa, Jada Breezy, or whatever, and they're way easier to reach, right? So you can get more numbers, more streams, more money, and it's easier to make. And fourth point is no or slower stimuli fatigue. Now, what the fuck do I mean by stimuli fatigue? Let me actually draw this out for you. It's pretty simple. So we have our chart here, Y and X axis, and on the Y axis we have E for effectiveness of stimuli. This is over E for exposure. Okay, so what actually is a stimuli? So before we can understand what I'm about to draw here, we need to understand what a stimuli is. And a stimuli is basically something that provokes a response. So if you see me on the street and I say hello to you, that's a stimuli, and it provokes a response from you. So you either say hello, if you don't know me, you might ignore it, whatever. And that's pretty much a stimuli, right? Something that provokes a response. Okay, now this is the effectiveness of a stimuli and exposure. Now what happens with stimuli is that they decrease in effectiveness over exposure or longer time. So what does this mean in a music context? For example, 10, 15 years ago, right here, you would have been able to send Southside a DM and ask him for his loop mail with the copy and paste approach, like, yo bro, I fuck with your stuff, blah blah blah, what's your loop mail? That would have worked. And why did it work? Because there was way lower exposure, because no one was doing it and there weren't as many producers. So it was at 100% effectiveness. Now, if you would do the same approach today, it would be probably below zero, probably. And that's how it is in a lot of the US markets. You will get like anywhere, depending on how good your approach is, how much value you provide, but you will get anywhere from 10, maybe from 1 to 20% effectiveness. So 20% of the people you actually reach out to give you their loop mail or respond back to your approach, right? And that effectiveness is just way higher in European markets or those smaller markets because it's just no one doing it, right? And another example of this would be, this is the same for stimuli, but also for value. So if one person comes up to me and says, hey, I want to give you a free massage, I would be way more inclined to say yes. But if everyone on the street comes up to me and wants to give me a free massage, the effectiveness would go down drastically, and I wouldn't even want a massage anymore, right? So that's the same with value. So in the music producer approach, if you, for example, make artwork and you want to deliver value, in that sense, the more people that offer free artwork, the less effective it will be, right? The less people will respond, because they already have like 10 other guys in their DMs offering them free artwork because everyone's doing it. So exposure is higher, therefore effectiveness is lower, right? And with a lot of those smaller markets, you don't have that as exponentially as in the US, because in US markets, everything has been done. Everything, right? Because everyone is trying to get in there. But with those smaller markets, you can still have the same approach that doesn't work in the US or doesn't work as good, apply it to a smaller market, works fabulously. So that's what I mean by no or slower stimuli fatigue. Okay, so what did I do and how did this make me a multi-charted producer? So here's everything I did. I'm going to read it out. So I reached out to industry producers in Europe and bought pay collabs. So I chose a smaller market and offered value, right? And with some of those, I still work closely to this day, and I've got multiple samples saved for unreleased songs that might be coming out this year, might be coming out soon, and that potentially chart even more and go gold or even platinum, right? Now, next step I did, I used these credits to connect and get into a room with even bigger producers, right? And I will keep repeating this exact systems until I'm one step further, one step further, one step further, right? So let's talk about your master plan. Let's piece it all together and create an understandable plan for you. So your master plan, step one is choose your market and artist that fits your style, right? It's important that your product is actually good. I haven't talked about product in this whole video, but if your loops or beats are trash, focus on that first, get that locked. Make music for 2 to 3 years before even trying to get a song or a placement, right? Just get that locked. But after that, number one is choose your market and artist. If you speak the language in the said country, this is an advantage because you can create more intimate connections instead of just talking English to an Italian guy, for example. It's just easier. Step two, research and find out who are the main people around that artist. Who are his main producers, who produces most of their project. Because I can tell you in Europe, most of the times it's artists and producers work very closely and they have their main producers who produce like 40, 50, 60% of every album they have. And then reach out to them, reach out to those specific producers and offer them value, money, connections, whatever. I think I'm going to do a video on how to offer value or how to create value for music producers pretty soon, because it's probably the most misunderstood topic out there when it comes to actually getting placements or even getting relationships, right? Nobody really understands it. It's just that magical word value, and oh, you have to deliver value, blah, 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 blah. But no one fucking understands what it means. Then number 4 is keep sending stuff, beats, loops, whatever. Just stay consistent. It took me, I personally sent custom loops. So loops I would only make for that opportunity, and don't send. So if we calculate it up, that's like 5 loops a week times 50. That's like 250 loops for one placement, and I was working close with the producer, right? But it is worth it. Once you get over that initial hurdle, get that first placement in, get even a closer relationship with the artist or producer, it will just exponentially grow and you will get exponentially more songs, placements, whatever, right? Then step 5 is if you want to scale. Some people never scale. Some people just stay in that position. Some people become big industry producers in their own country, and that's what they want, right? But if you want more, if you want to go to the US eventually, if you want to scale that further, leverage your accomplishments to get more connections, either in the same market or expand into a different market. So that's what you would do to work with new artists in the same market, or you would either go to the US and work with bigger producers, artists there, right? I'm pretty sure I delivered on my promise, and I think you will never be able to think the way you thought before this video. Now that's a bold statement, I know, but I think this concept and fully understanding this will benefit every single producer, and I wished I would have understood this like 6 years ago when I started, bro, I swear. See you tomorrow, bro.